Muslims so militant? You ever heard like this before? They fighting and stuff like that. Oh, Islam was spread by the sword, and these type of, crazy statements. Number one, of course, Islam was not spread by the sword. Even though Islam did fight, and the Muslims do fight, just like anyone else will fight to defend what they believe in, right? America is the greatest fighter on the earth today, and nobody calls them crazy, because they said they're fighting to promote democracy, which is the rule of human beings on the earth. So what's wrong with the Muslim fighting to promote the rule of Allah on the earth? It's a good question to ask ourselves. Democracy is what? The rule of the people. And Allah says what? Al-Hukm? Who is the Hukm supposed to be for?
Lillah.
Lillah. The rule is supposed to be for Allah. So the Muslim fights for justice. And the only justice can come from Al-Adl, the most just, Allah. If it doesn't come from Allah, for sure mankind is not just. For sure any laws that human beings come up on their own with are not going to be more just than the law of Allah. There's no way possible that it can be such. Human beings have allowed man and man to marry. How can that be just? It's crazy. Human beings have allowed for people to drink alcohol, commit zina, all types of fruitless, crazy actions. And nobody says that stops that, right? So the Muslim fights so that the law of Allah can be superior in the land. Now, how did fighting in Islam take place? Because this is important. Because Muslims are not cowards, and Muslims are not pacifists, meaning that they don't fight at all. They do. But there's laws to it, as the law shows. They're not renegade cowboys either. That they just go around and blow things up, do this and that. That's not the way of Islam at all. So we have to know that there's a middle course. Allah says that we're ummatul wasata, just, balanced nation. So yes, the Muslim will defend themselves. Yes, the Muslim will fight. But no, a Muslim's not running around punching people in the face. No, a Muslim is not running around strapping explosives on and blowing themselves up. It's not Islam. No, a Muslim is not running up into churches shooting everybody. No, it's not Islam. But if you punch a Muslim, he'll punch you back. It's reality. Punch me, I'll punch you back. I hope you don't punch me because I'll punch you harder than you punch me maybe on accident. It might not be my fault, but it's just reaction, right? But that's Islam, reality, because if you're not able to defend yourself, then people will do whatever they want to do to you. That's not Islam, right? Part of manhood, you have to be able to respond appropriately when need be. Do you understand that? If there's a need to respond, again my word is respond, not initiate. If you have to respond to an action, the Muslim is able to respond appropriately. And then as well, we just finished the ayahs of fasting, i'tikaf, right? What do we know? That the Muslim won't transgress the limit. Do you understand that? I respond appropriately. I'll defend myself. But if you run off, I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to transgress. I'm not going to go further than what was needed for me to remove the harm from my situation at this point in time. I'm not going to chase you down. If you ran, you stopped, alhamdulillah, I did my part. But I have to be able to defend myself. It's part of Islam. Allah orders it here. So anyone that says, oh, why are you brothers training? Right? Oh, why are you brothers working out? We say, oh, you didn't hear Allah tell you this in the Quran? How can you call to anyone if you can't lift 20 pounds? Right? You punch something and your hand hurts afterward. Oh, seriously. Islam is a whole religion, a whole way of life. It's not just in the masjid reading, oh, alhamdulillah. No. The Sahaba weren't like that. The Sahaba were rough and tough. The Prophet ﷺ was rough and tough. That when things were happening in Medina, the Sahaba were getting ready to go figure out. One time there was a big noise and commotion in the Medina, and the Sahaba, they said they were getting ready to go see what it was, and when they got up, the Prophet ﷺ was already coming back. I checked it, don't worry you guys, it's alright. I think he said some horses or something got loose. That's the example that we have of our Messenger ﷺ. Not that there's some noise, somebody call the police. 911. No, it's not manhood. It's not realistic. Somebody runs in your house and you're looking for the police to come and your wife and family is there, you can't even protect them? It's not manhood, and it's not Islam. It's not. This is something that people want us to believe, or certain people want us to believe that the Muslim should be a coward, or that the Muslim shouldn't be able to protect himself, that the Muslim knows how to fight, he's a terrorist. No. How? Why? The Muslim knows how to fight, but the Muslim also knows how to restrain himself. Look where Allah first mentioned fighting at. After the ayats of fasting, the ayats of restraint, the ayats of how to, hold yourself back. Just because you're a pretty black doesn't mean you're going on karate kicking everybody. Seriously. But if someone was to take my wallet, their hand might not come back. Right? That's how it is. So may Allah guide us to be men. Right? And to be able to have manliness and manhood, and be able to, when people see us, say, I don't think I should mess with that person. Reality. The Prophet ﷺ, propagated this amongst the Sahaba. Why do we think that the men during Hajj and Umrah, they run the first time? And when they do Safa and Marwa, when they get to a certain point, they run. Why? Because the mushrikeen used to watch the Sahaba when they come in the Hajj, and the Prophet ﷺ would say, hey, let them see us. That we're not weak. That we're not tired. Nowadays, what is this? Oh, we've been sitting for 2 minutes. And they're tired. You ask them, we got to get back to being men. That's important. So Allah subhanahu fi sabilillah, right? Fight them in the way of Allah, right? But doesn't mean go and transgress. Doesn't mean go start no problems. Doesn't mean be a bully. It means if somebody starts with you, you should be able to repel their harm. You should be able to defend yourself appropriately and not go beyond that. So fight in the way of Allah. Allah says those who fight you, if they're fighting you, defend yourself. We will not have a nation of Muslim men if we're not able to defend ourselves. If we have to always look for somebody else to come to our rescue, then we will never be a nation. We will always be servants of other people. Because we got to say, call somebody to help us. Then Allah but don't go past the limits. And that's important. Those go hand in hand. Don't go too far. Don't become an extremist. Don't become a terrorist. What? By terrorizing people. That's what the meaning of a terrorist is. A terrorist is not a Muslim that knows how to defend themselves. A terrorist is a person that goes around committing terror in society. And a Muslim can never be that. Right? A Muslim, as the Prophet said, a Muslim and salam al-Muslimin min yadihi wa lisanihi. That the Muslim is the one who the Muslims are safe from his tongue and his hands. As well, the Prophet said, the one who kills someone that they have an agreement with, right, will never smell the scent of Jannah. So the Muslim doesn't create terror in society. You understand? But the Muslim will defend themselves. There's a fine line to understand that. Inna Allah la yuhibbul mu'tadeen. Allah does not love the one who transgresses. وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ. Again, another ayat showing how the Muslim behaves. Allah says, fight them wherever you find them. You find them? This is talking about against in the months of the holy month. Because again, the kuffar will try to say, oh, it's a holy month. We can't fight. But we'll block you from making Hajj. We'll show our military might, but don't fight us. It's the month of Hajj. So Allah said, okay, you know what? Enough of that. Enough of that. We're not going to keep playing these games with you guys. That you'll show your military might and then expect us to cower and say, oh, we won't do anything. So Allah said, fight them wherever you find them. وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ, and expel them from where they expelled you from. وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. And then Allah says fitna. We learn something here about why Muslims fight. Fitna here, the ulama say fitna here means shirk. Shirk is worse than killing. And we learn here about justice in Islam as well. That what's worse, that shirk, a person not giving Allah his rights, is worse than killing. The worst sin in Islam is what? Shirk. So if we look at it on levels, if a person has to fight to promote tawheed, to promote the worship of Allah, to promote justice, and maybe sometimes in war people die. In war people die. But Islam is not fought for power, greed, this and that. Islam is fought, and wars are fought in Islam because of, to promote justice, tawheed in the earth. That people can worship Allah, to remove people from the slavery of mankind and this jinn and shayateen and money, because that's reality. People are slaves of money, the man, shaitan. We want to remove people from this servitude of the creation and bring them into the servitude of Allah. And there's no servitude that's more just than the servitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we were created. So the Muslim fights to be able to help people to realize their goal of being created. Why are you on this earth? That's our goal. Not for money, not for wealth, not for fame, none of that. Not for leadership, but to make sure that Allah's law is the law on the earth. So fitna, shirk, is worse than killing. وَلَا تُقَاتِلُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ حَتَّى يُقَاتِلُوكُمْ فِيهِ. Then Allah said, don't start no problems with them. Don't fight them in the Masjid al-Haram, right? In the Kaaba area. But if they fight you, unless they fight you there, again, defend yourself. Be able to deal with their aggression if they become aggressive. If people become aggressive to you, we have to be able to respond appropriately to their aggression. It doesn't make sense that if a person shows aggressiveness to the Muslim runs. Oh, why is he being so rough with me? Well, that's how some people act today. I remember I was here in America where after, what's this thing happened? 9/11 happened. May Allah protect us, right? There was Muslims running through the mall. People were chasing Muslims through the mall. Oh, help us. SubhanAllah, how is this Islam? This is not Islam. Muslims running. Oh, after us, somebody's. Where's the men? SubhanAllah, so this is a reality. Even amongst the women, SubhanAllah. The women amongst the Sahaba used to get busy. The women amongst the Sahaba used to fight. Seriously, some of them used to ask the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, let me come with you guys to jihad. And I said, no, stay back, right? Not this time, maybe next time. Some of the women like Nusayba, the Prophet ﷺ used to let her come, and she killed some of the mushrikeen, fighting. She had a knife that she used to pull, and she killed some of the mushrikeen. They said she won in the battle of Uhud, right? She was defending the Prophet ﷺ when everyone was trying to surround and kill him, to the extent that she had a wound on her arm that never healed. This is a woman. And she had children, meaning that she got married and she still knew how to be a woman. She wasn't so tough that she didn't know how to be a woman. She didn't stab her husband one night, right? Oh, she's a warrior woman, so now she can't listen to her husband. No, she had children. She listened to her husband, but she knew when to appropriately use what she knew how to do. So we have to think about that. Then Allah says, فَإِنْ قَاتَلُوكُمْ فَاقْتُلُوهُمْ. So if they fight you, fight them. Simple. This is a rule from Allah. If they fight you, fight them. Again, don't start no problems, but if there's some, we know how to solve them. If there's problems, we know how to solve them. And then we'll call the police after we defended ourselves. Officer, can you come and take this guy to the hospital? Right? I didn't do nothing extra. This is just from one punch. Right? May Allah protect us from ever having. The reality is the Prophet ﷺ will say, don't wish to fight. And that's the type of people we have to be. So we don't ever wish for fighting, but we also are prepared to defend ourselves if we have to. But the problem, we should never wish, because you never know the outcome of a fight. And that's something that you learn from fighting. You can slip one way and get hit and never wake up. So never wish, don't think that you're so tough, right? That, I'm just going to, no. Never wish for fighting. But if you have to fight, be able to handle yourself, is the rule of Islam. كَذَلِكَ جَزَاءٌ كَافِرِينَ. Allah says likewise, that's the recompense, the punishment that the kuffar should get. فَإِنْتَهَوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Now Allah tells us something. If they stop, then Allah indeed is forgiving, the most merciful to forgiving. If they stop, then we stop. We don't want to fight anyway. We don't want to fight. We don't want to harm a soul, not even one person. But we're not going to let ourselves be harmed either. فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ دِينُ لِلَّهِ. And fight them until there's no more shirk. Fitna here, there's shirk. Or fight them until the fighting is done. And the deen becomes purely for Allah. That nobody worships anything else besides Allah. فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا فَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. And if they stop, then there's no more transgression except upon the one who is oppressive, except for the one who's doing wrong and wants to keep fighting. Aside from that, don't keep fighting. That's a rule in Islam. We have to remember this and put that in your brain. If they stop, then there's no more you chasing after them. I'm going to get him. He shouldn't. No, they said sorry. They stopped. We stopped. Again, the Muslim knows how to be self-restrained. We learn this through fasting. We learn this through i'tikaf. That's why Allah mentioned these other ayats before He even started talking about fighting. Don't you know this is the first time Allah mentioned fighting in the Quran? What did He mention before all of this? He mentioned the things about Hajj. All the arkan of Islam He mentioned first. And these other arkan, seek help and be patient in salah and patience, right? All of this is what? To be able to prepare us to do what? To be able to fight with restraint. Because if we have to fight, we can. But if they stop, we know how to stop. Look what happened to Ali radiallahu anhu. Right? Who was more tough than Ali? Ali had a sword that had two heads on it. Ali used to tell people when they used to have the battle for the Ali used to say, oh no, let me go out and battle first, Ya Rasulullah. But a man was fighting with Ali radiallahu anhu and he spit on Ali. So Ali would say, whoa. He said, yo, why you didn't kill me? Ali, like, I know who you are. He said, because you spit on me and I didn't want me to kill you for it to be out of my own pride. If I fight you, I want to fight you for Allah alone. So he stopped. You see the self-restraint? Some of us, if somebody spit on us, it's over. But we have to be the type of people like Ali, radiallahu anhu, right? That the man spit on him, he stopped. So, no longer is it for Allah. If I do something to you now, it's going to be for me. So he stopped. That's self-restraint. That's the character of the Muslim. That he's able to think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even when his anger is on, I want to do something to you. No. That Allah says, Ash-Shahr al-Haram bish-Shahr al-Haram, that the holy months is for the holy months, wal-Hurumat al-Qisas, and every action that should not be violated, there's Qisas for it. If you hurt somebody this way, then there's Qisas for it. Anyone that should not be violated or anything that should not be violated, if you violate it, then there should be some equal payment and retribution for that. فَمَنْ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. So Allah says, whoever transgresses against you, they go beyond limit, then you go do the same thing to them. Right? In accordance similar to what they did to you. So Allah here is talking about fighting, he's talking about transgression. Why? Because he's making a similarity between what they did to them. Be able to respond back appropriately. Don't let them be say, oh, the Muslim, we jumped on those Muslims and they just slapped us. No. You got to be able to respond appropriately. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. And Allah follows up the ayat of fighting with what? And fear Allah. Have taqwa of Allah, and indeed Allah will support and aid those who have taqwa. A lot of times we rely on our own strength, and the real strength comes from taqwa. It comes from Allah giving them strength. What happened in the Battle of Hunayn when the Muslims were so many, almost 200,000, right? And they were going out to go battle, and Allah tried them because what? They were relying on their numbers and their strength. Oh, we're good. And Allah tried them and almost made them lose that battle. To remind them that what? The victory comes from Allah. It doesn't matter about how rough and tough you think you are. The victory comes from Allah. And if we don't remember that, Allah will make us lose just to remind us that the victory comes from Allah. So fear Allah. Don't go too far. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you to stop doing something, stop. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. And spend in the way of Allah, in the path of Allah, fight for fighting. وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. And don't throw your own selves into destruction. So no matter say here, this ayah can mean a few things. Don't be stingy in regards to spending to prepare yourself for war. In a Muslim country, of course, we don't have that type of expenditure here. But if you're in a situation where, spending to teach the young boys karate, spending to teach the young boys and the young girls how to use knives, right? These things the Muslims should know how to defend themselves, and you should be stingy in those areas. Why? Allah says because if you don't, then it will give your enemies strength over you. While you're sitting there, because like we see with our own eyes, the little non-Muslim children, they're training. So you're afraid of paying $60, $70 a month to train your children, right? How to fight, how to use knives, how to use sticks, whatever. And this gives your enemy strength over them. So this is cause of your own destruction. Your stinginess is the cause of your own destruction. Right? And this ayah is also used by the ulama to show up that the Muslim never commits suicide. Never throws himself at a situation that is that's clear that they're going to die. Right? You got to regroup. Go back, regroup, look at it another way. But don't just throw yourself into death. It's not the way of Islam. وَأَحْسِنُوا, and do good. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, Allah loves the doers of good. So we stop here, inshallah. But I want to recap and mention that the importance that we mentioned here was, one of the most important parts that we mentioned again was the importance of beginning and starting the month of Ramadan by the hilal. As Allah again says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ, and He mentioned these ayats directly after talking about fasting the month of Ramadan. Showing again that time in Islam, time to count the woman's iddah, time to count the time for Hajj, time to know when Ramadan begins or ends. All of this is built on the hilal and not on some crazy scientists in a laboratory's calculations. هذا وصلى الله عليه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
جزاك الله خير.